Hello, and I'm Mr. Mustard, and I'm getting wet outside at Hartshead Moor Services because I've come here to drive this Nissan Leaf. What do you reckon to that? I've never driven anything like this before, so this is going to be a bit of a culture shock, I reckon. Even just looking around the thing, it doesn't really look like it doesn't even look like a proper car to me. It looks like a spaceship. That's a bit dramatic, isn't it? But it does look a bit like a spaceship. The kind of spaceship you used to draw when you're 10. Not like a real spaceship. But look at these great big whooshing backlights with no real colour on the outside. It looks like they're not lights at all, but just Nissan source. These front lights are apparently designed to swoop the air over the back of the car to make it more aerodynamic and therefore more economical with electric, meaning you can go a bit further than what you would have done otherwise. One thing you have to do when you have a car like this though is carry around in the boot with you all the time all of your charging gear. So you can't just have an empty boot full of shopping or an empty boot for shopping. It's got to have great big cables knocking about. Time to get in the electric car. Very nice. Actually, from what you can see here, it just looks like a normal car. Until you turn it around and get my angle of it. There. Now, I'm going to have to learn how to use this car. What I do know so far is how to switch it on. I've got the keys that could just remain in my pocket, to be honest. And then there's just a single button down here. And you press it on. A car that you press on rather than turn on. That's strange enough as it is because, once it's on, you can't really hear that it's on. Actually, it's not because I forgot to put my foot on the brake. Let's do that again. Right, foot on brake. Now press the power button. And there we go. Now it's on. And you are gifted with all sorts of electrical gizmos going on. Right, those wiper mode. Wipers don't need to be on, I don't think. Let's switch them off. From a nice speedo quite high up there, so you don't have to take your eyes off the road as you're driving along. Presumably not a ridiculous speed. My anticipation of this car is it's not going to feel very quick. And then the main display here, which shows the amount of battery left and the battery temperature and the amount of power that you're using while you're driving. So there, I guess that means not really using any power driving. There's it looks like a rev counter up there, but it can't really be a rev counter, can it? And then this is all nice. It's kind of a piano black display with a touchscreen thing. Looks like a big mobile phone. Looks like my mobile phone, actually. The seat is very comfortable, actually. I will say that. It feels just nice. And looking in the back, I can already see there's loads of space there. So maybe I'll just climb in the back. This is very impressive, actually. There's loads of room in the back of here. Oh, hang on, let's see if I can put this down over here, just like that. And yes, yeah, you can see I've got some knee room. The legs feel quite high up, but there's certainly room to be comfortable for a decent journey. And the all-important headroom. My head is not touching the roof. And there's a bag in the way there. I mean, fancy leaving a bag in the way. Let's see. No. There we go. People know me too well. He seems to have brought me a gift of beer. I'm pretending not to smile about that. Yes, he's brought me some beer. I'm just going to remain neutral and, I'm pleased, but I'm not really happy about it. Right, let's have a look at the engine. When we look under the bonnet of the Nissan Leaf, we find what looks like, looks a bit like an engine with a car battery, but it's not quite. Obviously, I did know it's not going to have an engine, but I was expecting it to look a bit less like an engine than it does. So down there we have a great big electric motor, and on top of that, an inverter as well. And that's basically it. There's no oil or anything, so it's all nice and clean. But the curious thing is, look at the size of that battery. I thought you'd need a bigger battery than that for an electric car. Just like a normal car. ABS pump there, car battery, coolant bottle, and one of those things. What's it called? Brake servo. Underneath this flappy lid thing here, we have 2 charging points. One there for charging at home, and there for the rapid charging points that you have in the service stations. And a light so you don't get them mixed up. Launched in 2010, the Nissan Leaf came out with a 80 kilowatt electric motor rather than an engine. That's equivalent to about 110 brake horsepower, which for a small car seems like quite a bit, but then this car weighs over 1500 kilos. It is a 1-speed motor, so there are no gears to worry about, and also the torque is instant. I'm about to have my first drive in a Nissan Leaf, and this is really quite a odd experience because the car is on, but there's absolutely no sound whatsoever. Feels like I'm just rolling. Do you know what? This is so quiet, it's almost scary. So far the drive is just like a car, which is not entirely surprising. And I'm just about to enter the motorway, and now that's, I do know about the torque you have with these. It's the torque's just there straight away. Nice. That's good. I didn't actually look for some of the stalks. The wiper motor seems to be in exactly the right place, and so does the indicator, which I just used then to tell the other traffic that I was entering the motorway, and I was. And I'm currently doing 50 miles per hour on the M62. Then off the A58, rolling down the hill now. As soon as you take your foot off the, I was going to say gas pedal, but there's no gas involved. As soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, you can feel the car kind of dragging backwards with its regenerative brakes. I still haven't got the word right, I can't think of what it is. Brakes nice and firm. And then you stop and the car is completely, like, it's switched off. How do you know if you've broken down? Oh, I know, because when you put your foot on the pedal, nothing happens. Something did happen just then, and I'm moving again. What I can hear quite a lot are my beers that Peter's bought me clanking around in the bag behind me. So that's reassuring. With it being wet, the windows are getting a bit steamed up, and I just turned on the fans. The fans are incredibly quiet. Now I believe that everything in this car has been made extra quiet because otherwise it would sound incredibly loud. It's nice to have the air blowing without, you know, a load of noise, which is nice. Being so quiet means that I can drive along without you looking at me for you to be able to understand what I'm saying. You won't need to read my lips. No lip reading necessary in this car. So far this has got to be the easiest car I've ever driven. It really is just press and go, which, now that there are times when that's obviously exactly what you want, I don't even feel like I'm driving at all. I feel like I'm a passenger, except I'm responsible for the car. Now, you've heard of range anxiety. I certainly have. It's one of the issues with electric cars and making them popular in the first place, because you just don't know how far you can go. It's got all this information on there telling you how far you can go, yet you're going to worry about it because it's not like you can just pop into a petrol station and put some more diesel in it, because that won't actually help at all. But how about this? This isn't my car, it's not fully charged, and my friend Peter, who owns this car, has got to drive it back home again. I met him halfway. So I've got a kind of deflected range anxiety, and I'm worried about him not being able to get home. Right, now I'm going to come back off the roundabout, back on the M62 to rejoin Nigel in the car park. When I go back up here, I'm just going to put my foot down a little bit and try out this non-eco mode that it has to see how special it is. Because I've just been assured it's actually quite sprightly when you get it going there. Right, here we go. Doing 35 and then foot down. 50, there we go, that pulls quite nicely, yeah. As I've just pulled up there, I'm looking around for the key to try and switch the engine off. I tell you what's interesting, having a handbrake on like a kind of a ratchet. The handbrake's down there. It just sounds funny. Just not what I was expecting, and I thought it was just going to sound like that. Centre display has a camera in the back, which is all very nice and shows you where you're going to be going if you keep going. The only thing is the rain's made it rather blurry. And to switch off, just off with that. Would you like to know my verdict on this car? Well, I'm going to give it to you anyway. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I enjoyed driving it. It was so different to my car and every other car I've ever had before. But the thing that really sticks with me is I don't understand why more people haven't got them. Because most people seem to have either a job that they don't have to go very far to, or they do the school run type things, and it's perfect. It's a perfect car for doing a short trip in and then going back home, or a short regular trip back and forth. But some of these people just choose diesels. Somehow they think diesel is a better choice when it's not. Diesel's a horrible choice. It's a smelly choice. It's polluting, and it's just wrong for short journeys. It's good for long journeys or for pulling heavy things, and that's really it. As town cars and stuff, it just doesn't really make any sense as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, there is the issue of the price of the car in the first place. I can't remember exactly what it is. It was something like £31,000, I think, or there might have been some government concession with it as well. As a second-hand buy, it might be a bit of a gamble because those batteries aren't going to last forever. And I do believe replacing those batteries is going to be a very, very expensive job. There's also the infrastructure to consider as well. The services I was at there only had 2 charging points. And when I got there was a car using one, and the other one just had a car parked next to it, not using it at all, which is quite disrespectful, to be honest. But 2 for a service station is very, very little. And on the opposite carriageway, apparently it wasn't even working. So that's not very good, is it? But consider this. It's a car that doesn't have any fuel and has no oil and has fewer serviceable parts than any other car. It's a motor. I mean, it has like wheel bearings and tyres and brakes and things like that to consider. But it's still quite a lot less. Plus, the electric motor does a lot of the braking when you take your foot off the accelerator pedal when you're going down a hill. So that means that you're not even wearing your brakes out. It's a really good idea. Anyway, I'm waffling on. I like the car. I think it's good, and I'm very, very pleased I took it for a drive. I'm very grateful for Peter for giving me that opportunity. And I'm also very grateful for the beer, to which he bought me 2. And this one, Blandford Fly, particularly good. Oh yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.